Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us here once again on the African Reform Movement channel, where we discuss everything African reform with an emphasis on Ghana. As always, I'm your host, Uche, and we will be joined shortly by Dr. Nee. He's working at the moment. He's just looking for a room that he can pitch up in. So he'll be with us as soon as he is able. Okay. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're glad that you joined us. If you can, in the chat box, let us know how you heard about this particular channel. And if you've watched other videos, what have you learned so far? What have your biggest takeaways been so far? Okay. So for those of you who knew, I do this at the beginning of every single live stream. These are Dr. Nee's social media handles. Please feel free to connect with him on there. But like I say, I always try to encourage people to visit his website, com. There he writes articles, I believe it's at least once a week, and posts them up there. So you can keep abreast of what's happening daily and what his thoughts, opinions are, and how he is, what his solutions are to those particular situations. Like I say, make yourself acquainted with his particular website, and that way you can be able to track along with him, follow along with what's going on there. Dr. Nee also has a book nook store. He's I was going to say prolific author. He is a prolific author. He's got a number of books here. It's Tete Kwashi, The Start of Follow, Fair States Charter for Africa, Weep Not Africa, and A Fifth Republic. He's in the process of finishing another couple of books, and he'll let you know about those in his own time. But yeah, a prolific author, prolific writer, always on something with regards to what he sees for the vision for Ghana. Okay. So let's see here. Who do we have? Hello, Eric. Thank you for joining us. You're first today. You beat our usual guys normally here first, but thank you for joining us this afternoon. Eric, just drop in the chat box where it is you're watching from. Just in case you didn't hear me earlier, Dr. Nee's just running about 5 minutes late, but he'll be with us very, very shortly. He's just going to find a room to pitch up in, and then he'll be with us immediately. Okay? So I just want people to, number one, drop in the chat box where they're from, but also, if this is not your first time watching us, please let us know what live streams have impacted you the most. What has been your biggest takeaway since Dr. Nee started his live stream all the way back in April of last year? You can put that in the chat box. That'd be really good, because I'd like to see what people are thinking and how they've been receiving information. Greetings, Kenneth. Eric beat you to number one spot this morning. Thank you for joining us. So between Eric and Kenneth, you're the two on here at the moment. Just drop in the chat box what has impacted you the most thus far of all the live streams that Dr. Nee has done. What one or what couple have been the ones that have been the biggest eye openers for you, and what has been the biggest takeaways thus far? Okay. I think for me, what it's not about a takeaway, but I'm learning a lot about what's going on with the economy over there. And Dr. Nee mentioned one time there's like a staggering amount of money that was missing, and there's no one looking for it, no one chasing for it. It's government money, and no one's looking for it, no one's trying to figure out where it's gone or anything. It's extraordinary. It's just what. Oh, hello, Sophia. You're in Pakistan. Okay, welcome. Okay, thank you, Eric. That's excellent. So I just want to hear what your biggest takeaways are. Have there been any surprises, anything you didn't know, anything you had heard about before where you were interested in Dr. Nee's take on it? Just drop a line in the chat box so we can all see. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. As I say, he'll be with us shortly. I do apologize if you can hear any banging. Ooh, hello. Education of our history, the economy. Yeah, the economy has been a real eye opener one for me as well, Eric. It's been a real eye opener. Yeah, and the history. Yeah, I love hearing history. I love hearing about histories of countries from people who actually know what's going on. I used to always say if I'd had a good history teacher, I probably would have pursued that further after school. But our English teacher wasn't particularly brilliant. Not their fault, but there you go. Hello there, Tete from Massachusetts. Wow, thank you for joining us. Much appreciated. Teta, just in case you didn't hear, I'm asking people to drop in the chat box what live stream they have been impacted by the most so far. If this is your first time joining us, obviously, don't worry about it. But if you've been watching previously, I'm just asking people just to find out how the live streams have been impacting them, what information was really eye-opening, what was something that they probably hadn't thought before, hadn't known of before, or Dr. Lee's spin on it made them look at things in a different way. So if you haven't joined us previously, don't worry about it. I'm just trying to get people to share how the live streams have helped them in terms of information. Yeah. Okay, Eric, thank you. The politicians preach propaganda, but Nee speaks facts. So we're able to put our history into proper perspective. I agree. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. You need someone that can speak facts. Just that's exactly what they're talking about. They're able to like put things in a place where not only people who have great deal of education can understand it, but the everyday man and woman can understand it as well. Thank you for that, Eric. I really appreciate that. Hey, Dr. Nee. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I'm back. I'm
Okay,
online
excellent.
now.
Excellent. Okay. So you're safe to set up there, are you? You okay there?
Yeah, what?
You're okay to set up there? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've done instructions, but I was just asking people to put in the chat box what from all live streams that they've seen, what has impressed them the most, what have made them go away and think the most. And so
Oh,
far,
okay.
Eric has said like the education of our history, the economy, which is a good one. I also mentioned
Oh,
this. He said like politicians preach
perfect.
propaganda, but he speaks facts, so you're able to put our history into proper perspective. So that's what we were talking about just whilst you were getting yourself situated. Okay.
Well,
So if you're ready to go, I'll hand over to you.
yeah,
You
I'm
ready to
ready to
go?
go. I'm ready to go. Yes.
Okay.
So today we are talking about the spirit of David, self-determination, and the Amuhad revolution. Now, these are very important things to me. As you will see, the Amuhad revolution is revolution of Niamu. It's a concept I formulated about 40 years ago. Actually September 1982, and you'll get to know a bit about that today. But before we proceed, I would like to tell the great audience that today is the last day we'll be doing the weekly programs. The next one is going to be fortnightly, or let me put it this way, we'll try and do it twice a month. You see, I'm talking to you people from the hospital. You can see I'm in the hospital. And sometimes I'll be on call on Saturday, like I am today, and I'll try and push and try and do it. Sometimes it can be difficult, and I don't want it to affect my work because I have to concentrate on what I'm doing there and what I'm doing here. So I'll try and work around my schedule so that it doesn't clash. The program doesn't clash with on call. If it works well, we'll do it every 2 weekly. If it doesn't work well, we'll do it 2 weekends in a month that I'm not on call so that we are all safe. I hope you understand. Thank you very much. So we move on. The spirit of David. Who was David? And what do you mean by the spirit of David? When is a David needed? And these are the issues we want to look at today. David was the second king of Israel from the house of Jesse, as you may all know. And it was described in 1 Samuel 13:14 as a man after God's own heart. Now, let's see what we will call the spirit of David. Can we please have the first slide? We'll find this in 1 Samuel 17, 32 to 40. Please find time to read this because it's a very key scripture in understanding who the man David was. David is a man who gives comfort and hope. He's a man who believes in can do. He believes in having experience as something before doing it. And he had absolute faith in God. We can find all these First Samuel 7. Father sent him to his brothers on the field when they were fighting the Philistines. Where's his brothers? What we done for this man? What we done for the man who kills this man? This man, the whole Israel, this and that, even Saul is running away. The more they shut him down, the more he shouted. So to Saul, he told Saul this, that look, king, long live the king. King, don't let your house, this man you see there, I will kill this man. Look, and the bear came to attack the sheep, and I chased them. I took the lamp from their mouth, and who allowed me to do this? The same God would deliver this Philistine, this uncircumcised Philistine. So I said, no, my son, you can't do that. You are just a youth. This man is fighting from birth. So then Saul decided I was going to arm David with all his armory so that I could go and face. So David put all those heavy things on. Then move 1, 2, 3. I said, no. And this is where the experience comes in. He said, no. King, I cannot use this. I have not tested them. Remove the great things of Saul, and he took his sling, his catapult, and 5 smooth stones. So experience is the best teacher. And we all know what happened. He went there, and 1 stroke, and Goliath was down. Now, the spirit of David always comforts and gives hope. When the whole country was up in arms and they were crying and didn't know what to do, he came to the scene and he gave hope and he comforted them. He even comforted the king who was shitting his pants. And he believes that all things are possible. You may look huge, you may look untrained, you may look small before the problem. But he believes you could recount what God did for him. And because he believed in the unlimited power of God, he believed that what God did for him against the lion and the bear, God could repeat the same thing. You should be able to have a history where you know that you were delivered. And therefore, you could be delivered again. Very important. And because of this, in 1 Samuel 13:14, God called him the man after his own heart. Of all the things David did, the women, the killing, the murder, God was even scared of him because he was absolutely ruthless. God said, no, there's too much blood on your hands. You can't build the temple for me. Your son will build the temple for me. After all these things, God still said he was the man after his own heart. Next slide. So now we know the spirit of David. Nothing is impossible for those who have the spirit of David. When is a David needed? Well, when a Saul is a king and darkness and hopelessness dominate the scene. When a Saul is a king and darkness and hopelessness dominate the scene, that's when we need a David. When a Goliath threatens, That's when collapse is imminent. When your economy is in imminent collapse, like World Bank says, high risk distress economy. Ghana is high risk, is in distress, dead distress, imminent collapse. Now Ghana has been directed to CC by Fitch, and after CC, you go into default, which is insolvency. When Goliath threatens, anyone believes that the end is at hand, that's when a David is needed. So now we know the spirit of David. But then, when is a David needed? I've been in two scenarios. When there is darkness and hopelessness in the land, when the land is threatened by a huge problem that they have no way how to solve it. That's when the David is needed. Next slide, please. What self-determination? That's when one takes full responsibility for his past, his present, and his future. The same applies to a group or a nation or whatever. When a group takes responsibility, full responsibility for its past, its present, and its future. Now, the moment you start your discourse with excuses, you are out of the realm of self-determination. A self-determined person doesn't blame anybody for his problems, whether past, present, or in the future. When you are self-determined, you don't blame anybody. You are responsible. You are the master of your own destiny. And that is one thing that is lacking in Africa. And that is one thing that is lacking in weak people. And that is one thing that is lacking in Ghana. You must feel really, really ashamed as an adult, blaming another adult for your problems. It doesn't mean that people don't hurt, or people don't sabotage, or people don't do this, and people don't do that. When you see negative inputs in your life, you must see them as rubbish that needs to be cared. And when you see positive inputs in your life, you must see them as wheelbarrow and shovels that you need to use to clear the rubbish. They all play a part in the center of everything is you and your determination. What to do with the rubbish, and what to put the good inputs, what you use to put the good inputs to. You can decide to add the shovel and the wheelbarrow and still cry about the rubbish. And that's why we are where we are. We have no business, Ghana, being where we are today, knowing what we have as a nation, the human resources, the natural resources, the good weather, the good soil, the sea, the many rivers. We have no reason. But we want to start our national discussion from slavery. We want to start our national discussion from colonization. We don't want to start a national discussion from what we can do for ourselves now. And we talk as if colonization only has negative inputs, but it's got massive positive inputs. That's why some of us can speak English today, and we are part of the global economy. Self-determination is actually different from independence, but that will be another day. We'll talk about it another day. You may get independence from self-determination, but getting independence doesn't mean that you are self-determined. And that's the problem of Africa. Self-determination means that you have taken full control of your past, your present, and your future. Nobody to blame. Next slide. What's the origins, the features, and the objectives? The origins. You see, when I sit down and I look at my life from as far as I can remember, then you understand where most of the things you have heard from me and most of the things you're going to hear from me, you know where they come from. You see, There are two very interesting characters in the Bible. Joseph and David. Joseph told his brothers that he had a dream, that he saw, I think, 11 stars and the sun and the moon or something bowing to him. And the father immediately said, keep quiet, don't say that again. But the Bible says that, but the father took note of what Joseph had said. Basically, he was saying that he saw his 11 brothers, mother and father, bowing to him. So when his father, listen here carefully, Joseph was sent to his brothers in the field by the father Jacob, and David was also sent to the field to visit his brothers by the father Jesse. So when Joseph was approaching his brothers, then the brothers said something. Here comes the dreamer. Here comes the dreamer. Sibling jealousy. Here comes the dreamer. We'll finish him today and we'll see what to come of his dreams. When David went to the field to visit his brothers and he saw the blasphemy of Goliath against the armies of the living God, and he said he was going to kill him, his brothers tried to shut him down. You dreamer, keep quiet. So, all of you there must understand that when you are with your family and you start talking what they consider to be big, you are likely to be treated by your family like Joseph and David. If they have power to kill you, they will kill you. If they have power to sabotage you, they will sabotage you. And for me, I saw it red-handed. I saw what can happen when you talk big, and I talk big. Eric there will tell you, and there will tell you. Because for me, nothing is too big. Everything is small. So I talk big. When my grandmother died, and we were having a bunyo party, across the street, then one of my older cousins, I haven't seen for years, maybe 40 years, maybe I haven't seen her for years. She came there, she came to hug me and say, hey, Niamu, Niamu Edakwe, Ike, if I have a doctor, maybe I a president. Agbene, one a doctor, one my president there, Let me translate into English. Hey, Niamu. When I was young, very young, he said he will become a doctor and the president. Now we've seen the doctor, we are waiting for the presidency. Now, when she said that, Chicago was there, Chicago's father was there, I'm sure Chicago said, oh, so this madness didn't start now. Okay, all right. I mean, she didn't say that, but I look at her face, I said, oh, okay, there we go. Now, what I'm saying is this. When you say that to your family, you stand the risk of being treated like a David or Joseph. 1982, June, we came back from school after Rawlings' fake revolution. When I came, my father had left the country, so my grandmother posted me to my uncle at the man. I was 15 years old then. When I went there, my grandmother had 3 sons. My father was the eldest. Then there was another one who was then in Germany, and then the younger boy who was then the CFO at Nestle. The one from Germany had come. So when I said, oh no, you go to them and go and serve your fathers. No, you don't stay with me in Osu, you go. So I went. And then when I went, whilst I was there, my end of year report, Form 3, end of year report came. And wow, so my uncle from Germany said, wow, is that what you are doing in school? Jesus Christ. That my uncle, he was a scholar among the 3 of them. He went to Achimota School, University of Ghana, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so he really liked people he really liked education. So I was all over, he was talking about me all over the place. And then the sibling jealousy started. It was horrible. My life in Tema. But because of family sensibilities, I'm not going to go too much into details here. But then when that was at the end of Form 3, 1984, I finished Form 5. That's O levels. I went back to them. I used to go there during the holidays anyway. And then something happened. And in October, even before our results came, I had to move. I decided no more. You see, that decision for me is the beginning of my self-determination. Today, I'm not talking to you complaining. I'm talking to you that whatever happened in Tema for me was rubbish that I had to clear. And I had enough shovels and wheelbarrows to clear them. And I've cleared them. I don't blame anybody in my past, in my present, or in my future. And I mean, it's always with me here. The issue or the concept of Amuhad. I told them I was going to stage a revolution in this country. And if he's here, you confirm that. And a few friends of mine, I said, no, there's something wrong in this country. I'm going to clear it. 40 years into that, we are still fighting to bring Amuhad on the board. So now, the origins of Amuhad is the story of David, the story of Joseph, and self-determination. My friends were saying, Manny, if you go to soup, how are you going to cope? You know that system in Ghana at that point was full of extra classes. What they taught us in school wasn't enough. You need to attend. Who's going to pay for you? I said, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need anybody to pay for me. I had good friends. I had good cousins. I went to lower six from Usu. I went to university from Usu with my grandmother. Now, I always tell my children, things have not always been the way they are today. All right? You have to understand. Somebody sacrificed for you to be where you are today. I tell them. So, like David, I have examples that the same God who delivered the A-levels into my hands, who delivered the medical school into my hands, the same God who delivered everything I want into my hands. Eric knows that. When I was going to university, a young man there, he and another friend, Isaac, we took a taxi, put my things in, and they took me to university in 97 October. He delayed going to university and take a day so he could take me to school. He's there.
Sorry, Dr. Nee.
They took me to school. Just my things. Yeah.
There's something on your microphone. There's lots of going on.
There what?
There's a lot of scratching going on. We can't quite hear you properly.
There what?
There's a lot of scratching going on.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the reception is not so great in the hospital. But
Okay.
let me repeat myself.
Okay.
Okay, let me repeat myself. What I was saying was that when self-determination for me started, when I decided to leave Tema to Osu, not knowing how I was going to manage the A-level, which was full of extra classes, and university education, which was a bit expensive. But I left nonetheless. I took my destiny into my hands. And my cousin James, when I went to lower six, he was in upper six. When he finished his upper six, he gave his books to me. So I actually held A-level books for the first time when I was in upper six. My friend called Tizo, when school vacated, he went to extra classes. He stayed on in school after sec. I had to come home. And when I went back, I used to read his notes. And of course, I had to study on my own because I was determined to prove everybody that I could do it. And I did it. And I went to university. My first day at university, I was taken there by my friend Eric Engman and another friend Isaac Ado. Eric had to postpone his own going to school a day to take me to school. And then he went to tech. He did engineering tech. He went to tech the next day. That's how we lived. But you have to determine that nobody can play with you. And that's what I did. So I have the example, like David, killing the lion and the bear. I have the example. I have that experience. And I don't need the clothing and the armory of Saul to do anything. Because the armory and the clothing were there, but it couldn't even
fight Goliath. I don't need that. I don't need anybody, anything. No, my uncle's money, no this money. I'm not going to go into details because of family sensitivities and sensibilities. But the fact is that I decided after O levels that I was going to be on my own up to today. Now, what are the features of Amuhad? Enlightenment, social equity, and national development. I call it the ascent, enlightenment. At the beginning of creation, God says something, let there be light. And there was light. Everything begins with light. Where there is no light, there is darkness. When there is darkness, there's no development. The massive industrial revolution in Europe was preceded by the age of enlightenment. Africa hasn't had its age of enlightenment. We need enlightenment. We need new consciousness. And that's the fundamental basis for the formation of the African reform movement. We need to reform our consciousness. We need light. And I say, let there be light. Then social equity. You know what social equity means. To move from one level to another level needs only one thing, opportunity. So when a state is able to create opportunities for its citizens, all its citizens, wherever they are, that's what brings social equity. No foolish, aimless revolution. Social equity. So that it doesn't matter whether you are rich or poor, things that are available to one is available to everybody. What then matters is your personal talent. Social equity. And when social equity is well harnessed, there is national development. That's what you are lacking. That is what we are lacking. And that's what the Amuhad revolution is about. Next slide. Oh, then the objectives. The objective of the Amuhad revolution is to kill Goliath and to overthrow Saul, like it happened in the time of David. Now, kill Goliath means we should be able to overcome our economic difficulties and our political difficulties and all the voices of evil that have arranged themselves against us. We should be able to overcome them. To overthrow Saul is to overthrow the present political status quo. That has to go. The confusion will have to go. The darkness and hopelessness will have to go. And those are the objectives of the Amuhad revolution. Next slide, please. Oh, the veterans of Amuhad. All right, so these are the people that I discussed the revolution with in September 1982. Francis Butchie, Ken Amenya, Nia Mashite, rest in peace, Marta Pinto, Kofi Aita, Nalamle Wilson, may she rest in peace, and Nia Yoka. These were my classmates. He went from first term, 1982. They are all, well, with the exception of two of them, the remaining five are alive. And they can attest what I'm saying. Next slide. When and how will these things happen? Well, they will happen very soon. And you have to understand one thing. Nothing is impossible for God. What you think is not possible for you as a human being, never underrate the power of God, because he made Saul fall on his own sword. And we are here to see what's going to happen in Ghana.
Thank you for that, Dr. Nee.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So you've heard it. You've heard the Dr. Nee's analogy there. Please start posting your questions or comments for him in the chat box. I just want to say a special welcome to someone I haven't seen before. Dr. Nee, do you know this person?
Yeah, he's a real ninja. yeah, I know him very well. He's my uncle, actually. I'm a classmate.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I always have to have a look out for the names I haven't seen before. A spot like those ones. So welcome. Say welcome. Okay. So when did you? I mean, like I know you said, like with the Amuhad revolution thing, this has been on your mind for 40 years. You kind of like had this 40 years ago, but how did you connect it with the spirit of David and spirit of Saul? How did that connection happen?
I must say that at the time, to be honest with you, at the time I was talking about Amuhad, I didn't have the understanding of David and Joseph as I do now.
Okay.
I just felt that Rawlings has staged a coup in Ghana. He claimed he was having a revolution. So we have all these revolutionary things in the air. So then I felt that, okay, I'm not too sure what Rawlings was talking about, but I know that a revolution of some sort will be needed in Ghana. Because you see, my uncle at that time, we have all lived together in Osu before he moved to Tema. He began a big boss in Nestle. So when my grandmother said I should go there, it was okay for me. Somebody I know very, very, very well. We lived in the same house together before.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt, well, it's all right. I didn't want to go. Look, let me tell you something. Myself and my uncle's eldest child daughter were the best friends. We all lived with my grandmother, actually. So when they moved to Tema, she said she wasn't going to go with the parents. She would stay with Niam. She didn't go. We're very good friends. Then pull and push. One day, the father came for her for weekend, and she never came back. They found school for her in Tema. So then every Friday, they had to bring her to Osu. Then come and pick her on Sunday. It's about 20 kilometers apart to Tema, because she was still insisting that she wanted to stay in Osu. Because, our grandmother was great for her, to us, It got to a point, I went to visit there. That was 1976. And the mother said, oh, yeah, we want you to stay in Tema and go to school in Tema. We're going to take you to Tema Parents Association. That was one of the best preparatory schools in Ghana at that point in time, because they wanted their daughter to stay in Tema. And I told her, no. There is no way I'm going to leave Osu to come and stay in Tema to go to school. I'm happy. I was attending a public school anyway. I said, I'm happy with the public school I was attending, and I wasn't going to tell them. So when at the age of 15, my grandma said, oh, you go there. Your father is not around. You go there. I felt okay, but when I went in there, and my uncle was talking to me. So what? I felt that I was in my house actually. Then everything changed. Ken will tell you. He used to come. I was in community 10. He was in community 4, I think. He would come and visit me all the way, probably 5 kilometers or something. We sit and we talk and walk back and walk from. We can talk the whole day. But it was very different from the person I knew before. And the house was very different, extraordinarily hostile. Then I said, you know what? I'm going. So, but at that point in time, much later on, when I understood the story of Joseph and understood the story of David, I realized that, look, this is what is likely to happen among human beings when one person tries to project himself above those around him. He will be met with resentment, and if people had enough power, they will punish and show you where power lies. So then all those things fed into the Amuhad concept and what I would do if I should get power. So that's how initially it was just, I'll say, defiance. Not a very well formulated idea of doing this, but I knew that something wasn't very correct. That I think I should have the power to change at some point in time. And I believe I have that power, and I believe it's going to happen.
Amen. Thank you for your question, Eric. Eric has said, I think the biggest problem we have in Ghana is the unequal opportunities that exists. There's a protocol system which favors the presidency, parliamentarians, and the elite in society. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yes, I know what he's talking about. about. You see, because Eric and myself he went to PSEC, which you call the Science College, from 1 to upper 6. I when they have, that's what is called the protocol list. They have an advantage to send their children to the school than those who did not go there. So that's the protocol list, and he's been fighting this on his classmates' platform, and he's always been getting the backlash from his mates. They couldn't understand it. Now, when we in school was different than the grades of those who went to PSEC got to attend PSEC. They had to get, I mean, but a lot easier for them to go to PSEC's form than for me from outside to go. Although I came from a less advantage, I came from a more disadvantaged secondary school, but I still had to do better than those who went to PSEC in order to go to sixth form there, the same government school. Now, after sixth form, going to university, lecturers in university, the children of lecturers in the university were given 1 credit point. So that if you have the same points, if you have the same grade, if a lecturer's son, the lecturer's son will go ahead because we get additional credit points. We call, what do you call it in Australia? I've forgotten the name they have in Australia. Now, but for the lecturers in the medical school, their children had 2 credit points. So even if you did better than a child of a professor, but you did well by only 1 point, because of the 2 additional points, he will come ahead of you. Yeah, he will come ahead of you. So like he was saying, the opportunities were not equal. If your father was a fisherman, living in downtown Buko, and you struggle, no light, no water, whatever, you struggle to do as well as a professor's child, or even better than a professor of medicine's son. By 1 point, he will go ahead of you. You're the disadvantage. Whereas in Australia, it's the other way around. My daughter, when she finished year 12, she got the same raw marks with another person, but that person's parents had never gone to university. So she was giving extra marks because she didn't have tertiary educated parents. If you live more than 200 kilometers from the state capital, you will be, they have a word for it. They would increase your marks because they feel that you are disadvantaged. To close the gap between the city dweller with all the facilities and the rural dweller with little facilities, if you get the same marks, then relatively you have done better. So you'll be giving extra marks. If your father is a doctor, your mother is a doctor, your father is a lawyer, your mother is a lawyer, your father is a chief accountant, this and that, and you get the same marks as a woo classer, somebody who classes woo or whatever, daughter or son, you'll be giving, I've forgotten the word they use for it here, they'll be giving extra marks because they are from a disadvantaged position. You have everything at your disposal, yet you couldn't perform much better than such a person. That person should be given a chance. So that's what you're talking about, social equity. We don't have it in Ghana. It's the other way around.
Consensus here. The Amuhad revolution is for real and it's just about to resuscitate power from Goliath. Aluta continua.
Thank you. He's one of the veterans, you know.
Yeah, prior to that, he says the Amuhad revolution continues unabated.
Thank you.
And Eric has said, I think running a program when you're not on call is the right thing to do, so we're in support of it.
Yes, because it puts a bit of pressure on me. You see, I'm waiting because the nurses just came through there and they wake me up. It means that maybe there's something they need from me, but they know I'm busy here, so they understand. We are good friends.
Yeah, I hear that.
You know that way. You know that way is good. Is good how to know. To know how to handle women, right?
Yeah, I'll do it very well. So that's okay.
Shika has said here, affirmative action.
Because, yeah, it is good. You go there, you know what to say. You know what to say, and they are all happy. So yeah, so that's all right. That's holding. It's all part of the revolution. You social equity.
Mm-hmm.
You give to. You see, because people don't understand the word equity and
Mm-hmm.
equality.
Mm-hmm.
You see, equity is when two of you come to me.
Mm-hmm.
You need bus fare,
Mm-hmm.
but the bus fare is £2 or $3. You have $1. This other person has $2. So equity means that I top you up both to $3 to get a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Equality means that I give you both $1.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it will add up to what you need is irrelevant. So equality actually doesn't deal with outcome. It's equity that deals with outcome because you add up to get a predicted outcome. You give this person $2 so that he gets $3 for the bus ticket. You give this person $2 so that he also gets $3 for the bus. So your focus is on the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Equality means that you give them the same, irrespective of whether they both will achieve the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't use the word equality. So for those of you there, there's a difference between, of course, they will cross somewhere. If they both come to me with $2 and I decide to give them $1 each equally, yes, they'll get the same outcome. But that's not the principle.
Mm-hmm.
The principle is that I'm giving them equal attention. But in equity, one person needs more attention than the other. If you are in a class and you see that some students are falling behind, you don't teach them together together with those who are doing okay. You got to create a special space for them to bring them up to the level of the others. That is equity. But in school, when we're in school, there was no concept. We were taught the same thing in the same way. Some were struggling, no attention was paid to them, and they fell through the cracks.
Yeah.
So when I say social equity, I mean a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So the word is equity, not equality.
Right. I hear that. Okay. Well, Dr. Nee, that appears to be all of the questions and comments that we have here. Yeah, that's all the questions and comments. Just letting us some people who are on here. I've already said, sure, Eric, and then Sophia's also on here as well. Yeah. So.
Hey, it's the fire. Yeah.
And
So, Biko, good morning. How are you? Well, you know what? It's almost 11 p.m. here, so it's good night here.
Okay. Yeah, there's everybody that's on here, Dr. Nee. So we have no more questions or comments. So I think that'll be it for today. Okay.
Yeah, maybe
so,
in 2 weeks' time, which is the 22nd, I think, we'll talk about the spirit of Nehemiah and national reconstruction. If nothing big doesn't happen. Now, in between these days, what I intend to do is to do maybe 3 to 5 minutes TikTok or short videos to address current and burning issues. All right. So you'll still hear from me, except that not in this particular space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the 22nd. It's the 22nd. I just checked.
Yeah, what?
In 2 weeks' time is the 22nd.
Yes. So we'll be talking probably about the spirit of Nehemiah and national reconstruction.
Cool.
God willing.
Well,
God
thank
willing.
you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for your questions and comments. As you've heard, we're now going to be back on the 22nd of October. So please join us again then. Okay. Enjoy the rest of the day, whatever you're doing, and we are out. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Dr. Nee.
Bye.